Hello, hello, hello. It's Kyle Van Voorst with Voorst.com, and today I'm going to share with you the common reasons why startup growth is so challenging and how to fix it. Let's dive right in. Alrighty, so I'm very excited about this topic because it's something all entrepreneurs end up running against, right? Which is, how do we grow and how do we do it effectively, especially at the early stage when things are really, really difficult. You don't have a lot of market awareness and it can be tough. So what are some of the main reasons why early stage startup companies struggle to grow? And I've really broken this down into 5 key components. The first one is hiring. The second one is targeting. The third one is messaging. The fourth one is operations. And number 5, tactics. So I'm going to go through each one by one, share with you a little bit about why people typically struggle in this area, and then what you can do differently to help get yourself a little bit ahead. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It means a lot, helps me a ton, and then I'll keep making more of it. Okay, let's jump into the first one. Number 1, hiring. Hiring is so challenging at the early stage because you're competing against the big dogs who have a lot of money and resources. They can typically offer higher pay. They have better benefits. They have a reputable brand. These are all things that you're still working to achieve. So what can you do? Well, the first lever to pull is equity, right? And this is what all startups do. They offer a percentage of the company in exchange for taking a risk on the organization. And you want to find people who are willing to take that risk. But there's something else you can do outside of equity that also will position you to be more attractive than some of the larger organizations, because they do equity too sometimes. And what that is you can actually take a hands-on personal approach throughout the interview process. So if you find someone you really, really like, fly them out or fly to them, meet them for lunch somewhere, put in that personal effort to show that you are very excited about them as a candidate and you know they're going to have big impact and you're going to support them. That's key there, because nobody wants to go to an organization where they're not going to feel supportive. And if you show that before they even start, that goes a really long way. Of course, it's not scalable. This is only something you can do when you're smaller, but while being smaller, you might as well take advantage of every lever you can pull in order to improve your results. Number 2, targeting. This one is incredibly important and most companies don't do it very well. See, one of the challenges at the early stage is you want to be everything to everyone. And even if you feel like you've really honed in on what your ICP is, often it's either too broad or it's just misaligned, and that's really putting a dampering on growth. You want to have a clear expectation of what market you are going to be going after. So what I recommend doing is sitting down, looking at all of the available target markets, go a little bit deeper, understand who you provide the most value to, who within the organization is your best target, and create a master list of those targets as accounts and contacts. And when you have that master list, you need to go and check and see if it's going to satisfy your needs in order to meet your growth expectations. So what I mean by that is, if you're trying to hit, let's say it's $1 million in ARR by the end of this year, you have to do the math backwards, figure out how many deals you need, what's your close rate, understand how many opportunities you have to have in the pipeline, what's the conversion rate on conversation or email to getting an opportunity. You're working backwards and go all the way down until you understand the amount of activity, sales activities required in order to hit that goal. And if you create a list of targets that does not support the activity required, you're not going to hit that goal. So that's key there. You have to back it up with math. So go through, make sure you have a strong target account list, target contact list, and it's enough to support the team with what they need in order to hit the revenue targets. And if you do, good. Start executing. Number 3 is messaging. People get this wrong all of the time. Either they experiment way too much or they experiment none at all and they wonder why things don't work out. You have to test and iterate your messaging. So this is cold call scripts, email templates, emails or messages you're sending on LinkedIn, sales call scripts. This is everything. And write it all out. Choose what you're going to do, what templates you're going to use, how you're going to be outreaching to potential customers, and test it. Send 1,000 emails, make 1,000 cold calls, do 50 sales calls, do enough to actually get some real data, and take a look at your conversion rates. Are they good? Are they not good? And improve from there. What I see often at the early stage is way too much experimenting. Founders are all really smart now. They went to these great colleges. They understand how to run an experiment. And one week they're testing this, the next week they're testing this, and the week after, and then boom, 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 boom. Everything's going way too crazy. We don't get enough information to actually make decisions very, very well. So take a breath, be calm. Experiment, make some changes. It's an iterative process, and eventually you're going to end up hitting the hammer on the head, but do not change things so frequently. It's not good from a data perspective because you're not getting enough that you need in order to make the decision, but also it's not good on your people because it's just getting too chaotic. So really focus on building strong messaging and iterating that messaging over time. Number 4, operations. It's really important you're tracking everything and you're taking into account what you need in order to hit your targets. Now, CRM's got to be customized. It blows my mind how people are misusing the CRM. Deal stages, for example, and I have a whole video on this you should go check out, but deal stages, for example, should be fairly simple. What does it take? What's the exit criteria from one stage to another? And how are we tracking this against our goals? What's the conversion rate? What's the expected close rate at each stage of the process? On the SDR side, how are we tracking their efforts? Do we know how many touches it takes to get a meeting? Do we know the conversion rates of each of the different channels we're using for our prospecting? These are questions you have to answer. The companies that struggle the most are ones that treat that like a black box. They don't do much with operations. They expect their SDRs or their AEs to just do a bunch of administrative work, find their own contacts. It's a mess. You shouldn't structure your sales orgs like the Wild West. It needs to be incredibly well structured and well thought out and tuned like a machine if you ever want to get some repeatability out of your process. So spend the effort, make sure your systems are working properly, automate where you can, don't over-engineer, and make sure you have a system that's repeatable and predictable. 5, last but not least, it's tactics. At the early stage, often I see little to no attention paid to the tactics that the reps are using. I get it. You don't have this huge training and development budget and you can't hire sales trainers to come in all the time. I get it. But you have to do something. Coaching, improving your reps over time is mandatory if you want to get them consistently performing at a high level. The second you let off the gas when it comes to coaching and developing your reps, the second you start to decline. So whether that means investing in an external coach or educating yourself and then educating the team, doing call listenings together. There are a lot of ways where you don't have to spend a ton of money in order to coach your reps and help improve their skills over time. Take advantage of those. Share articles, read books together and have book clubs where you share the insights that you gathered and actually decide on things to take action on. These are little things you can do to make coaching part of your culture, which is going to help you grow your organization. Alrighty, folks, that's it. Those are 5 areas that you got to put your focus on if you want to have predictable growth. Unfortunately, a lot of companies struggle in one or all of those areas. It doesn't have to be you. If you have any questions, put a comment down below. I'm happy to reply. If you like this type of content, let me know. I'll keep doing it. Thanks so much for listening, and we will talk soon.